My suspicion is that India is afraid of losing to Pakistan in India, and India is afraid of losing to Pakistan in Pakistan. There will be a Pakistan match in Ahmedabad. I
Right.
must say, I smiled. I said to myself, ah, ha, ha, ha. I mean, this is one way to make sure we don't come to India. The ICC is also ruled by India, by the
Right.
BCCI. So, whatever policy the BCCI adopts, the
Right.
ICC eventually ends up rubber stamping it. Waiting for Mr. Jay Shah and the other colleagues to take a final decision
Right.
whether or not they accept the hybrid model that we've proposed. And
Mhm.
as soon as that issue is resolved, then we can tackle the issue of where to play the neutral country matches. We haven't taken a decision. I think the best thing would be for us to all sit together and decide on a mutually acceptable venue. So no decision has yet been taken about whether it will be the UAE or Sri Lanka, or it could be a third venue. We don't know. But I
Right.
think we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. The first question is the hybrid model that we propose acceptable? Are we going to play by those rules, or is the ACC going to insist that it all be held in one venue? In which
Right.
case, we shall not play the Asia Cup. Yes, it's a very simple arrangement. All the teams that are in our part of the schedule come to Pakistan. They play 4 matches there, and then all of us en route we simply get into a plane and go off to the neutral venue where we play the rest of the matches, including some matches between Pakistan and any other country. We will not insist that that match we come back to Pakistan for that match. So we've given a schedule now which
Mhm.
takes care of all the logistical problems, and there should not be any opposition to that. This, unfortunately, politics has come into sport. We've not had a good experience with the commitments that the BCCI has made in the past, and I will take you there very briefly to indicate that there is now a strong public opinion, including that of government, that whatever happens, there must be reciprocity. We have come to India twice since 2008 to play matches. India has not come to Pakistan. We didn't object because we thought, yes, it's true, the security situation in Pakistan is a problem. But in recent times, that security situation is no longer a problem. All the cricketing nations of the world have come to Pakistan in the last 2, 3 years to play full series in Pakistan. India is the only country that still refuses to come to Pakistan, and it cannot cite security as an issue anymore. So therefore, we would like to have a reciprocal arrangement. If for one political reason or another, the BCCI is unable to come to Pakistan and play in Pakistan, especially when we are the host, and all the other countries are ready to play in Pakistan and have already played in Pakistan, then I think the reciprocity demands that we say to the same thing to India. Okay, if you're not going to come to Pakistan, we're not going to go to India. That's the way it is now. Well, that's why the hybrid model is a perfect solution. Yeah, it's the perfect solution for the World Cup and the Champions Trophy. So you
Okay.
see, we are going to host the Champions Trophy. India is hosting the World Cup.
Mhm.
So if India now wants to have a neutral venue and accepts the hybrid model, then we'll use the same hybrid model in the World Cup.
Right.
Pakistan can play its World Cup matches in Dhaka or
Right.
any other venue to which India agrees.
Right.
And similarly, in the Champions Trophy, all the other countries can come and play in Pakistan, but India can play in a neutral venue. So this
Mhm.
is a model that goes forward and resolves this political logjam. As far as the ICC is concerned, don't forget that playing in India is very important. India is the biggest market there is, and it's Indian broadcasters who pick up the tab for it. So gate receipts are very important, and so are eyeballs. So that is one of the reasons why ICC wants to go and play its international matches in India. And I totally support that. So either we must resolve this question. It's not a question of hiding our heads in the sand and saying we have a problem, so let's not do it this way. We must find a solution. And the
Right.
solution is this: India, all India has to do is come and play in Pakistan, and that's the end of the matter. Now, let me explain. The Indian bridge team has
Right.
been to Pakistan and played.
Right.
The Indian volleyball team has played.
Right.
The Indian kabaddi team has played. So what's the
Right.
problem with the Indian cricket team coming to Pakistan and
But
playing?
Mr. Sethi,
So therefore, my suspicion is that India is afraid of losing to Pakistan in India, and India is afraid of losing to Pakistan in Pakistan. Now, let me take you back to 2014. In 2014, one of the conditions for Pakistan just signing on the dotted line regarding the Big Three formula
right.
was that the BCCI agreed to play a series of matches with us in 2015 in Dubai. We signed
Right.
a contract.
Right.
And then when 2015 came around, BCCI pulled out and said, we can't do it. And they cited government uh, pressure. Now,
Right.
here's the problem. When we took the BCCI to court, that's the argument that prevailed. What could we
Right.
do? We couldn't come, we couldn't play because the government said so. But here's the interesting point. We had the same government in India in
Right.
2014 when the BCCI signed this document.
Right. Right.
So, which means that today, if India says to us, hey, let's play in a neutral venue, all of us, and next
Right.
year we'll come to Pakistan and play, I have
Right.
a problem believing that. So, the thing is that we in the PCB,
Yeah.
we tend to go to our government and persuade them that,
Right.
look, allow us to go to India. We want to play in India.
Right.
And then the government gives us this political argument that, look, it has to be reciprocal. Otherwise, we'll be criticized roundly by our critics in
Right.
Pakistan. But similarly, I think the BCCI needs to stand up and go and tell the government that, hey,
Mhm.
please don't bring politics into it. This is just a
Mhm.
game. Allow us to go to Pakistan and play. The whole world is going to Pakistan to play now.
Mhm.
I must tell you that I get along famously with Jay Shah. We have
Okay.
no real issues. We've had long sessions
Right.
and we are very friendly.
Mhm.
And the only problem is that he hardly never gives me a reason for not playing in Pakistan. He just smiles and says, well, you know how the situation is. This is a given. So let's not discuss this. Let's find other solutions. And then when we find other solutions, and this is a solution I found, which is a compromise, huge
Right.
compromise on my part. I could
Right.
have said, we're not going to play the Asia Cup. Forget about
Right.
it. No hybrid. You come and play or else we are not playing. But I
Right.
said, no. Then I even said that if we end up playing India in the final, we'll play in the neutral venue. I
Right.
also said if we end up playing another country in the final, we'll play in the neutral venue. But
Right.
for God's sake, give us a face-saving, honorable solution to this, so that I can tell my people that we were the hosts. We had some matches here. There are some political issues, so now we've had to shift some of the matches to a neutral venue. This is not such a tall order. It doesn't affect cricket. The politics of what is happening on either in Parliament, in the courts, or in the streets, it doesn't affect cricket. We've just had finished the New Zealand tour. All this was happening while the New Zealand team was playing. We had a long extended tour with the New Zealanders in Pakistan, and so that's not an issue. The PCB is as stable as it can be, and in any case, I mean, I'm just telling you that my predecessor, Ramiz Raja, also took the same position that if
Right.
India is not going to play in Pakistan, we are not going to play in India. But what I have done is I've gone a little step further to effect a compromise and to suggest that we'll only play 4 matches in Pakistan. We'll play 6 or 7 matches in the neutral venue. Now let's get over this hump. Let's agree that we will follow the hybrid model here. And then we can start talking about whether it will be in Sri Lanka or in Bangladesh or in the UAE or anywhere else that we all might agree. I'm glad you asked me this question because, when I heard this statement
Yeah.
that there will be a Pakistan match in Ahmedabad, I must say, I smiled. I said to myself, ah, ha, ha, ha. I mean, this is one way to make sure we don't come to India. So, I mean, if he'd said Chennai or if he'd said Calcutta, that might have made sense. But I don't want to go into the politics of it, but
Sure.
certainly there seems to be a political angle to this. Because if there's one city where we might have security issues, it's Ahmedabad. And so,
Right.
therefore, I think the less said about that, the better. Certainly, it gave the impression that this is a red herring that has been thrown in our way to tell us, hey, we're going to play you in Ahmedabad, watch out. You know who rules in Ahmedabad. And I must tell you now that you've given me an opportunity. In the last 7-10 days, a lot of stories have hit the front headlines in India, so-called inspired leaks from the BCCI.
Right.
Not naming names, but people saying BCCI sources. One
True.
story said that if Pakistan doesn't play, the BCCI is saying that we'll have a 5-nation tournament, which is
Right.
nonsense because you cannot have a 5-nation tournament if it is not in the Asia Cup. It cannot be an ICC fixture. It cannot be outside the ICC because the ICC won't allow anything more than three-nation tournaments. Number one. Number two, if it is Asia Cup without Pakistan, then you can imagine what Star will say. Star is giving $48 million. And if I may say so, Pakistan is now, only 3 days ago, it was the number one ODI team. Now it's the number two ODI team. And if I may say so, India has gone down to number 3. What you're saying makes an eminent sense. But here's the problem. The ICC is also ruled by India, by the BCCI. So whatever policy the BCCI adopts, the ICC eventually ends up rubber stamping it. So really the change has to come within the BCCI and the Indian government. There is a massive disparity. It's actually got bigger. When I was last there, the formula of the big three was not as bad as the current formula that has been floated. India will end up getting, instead of 22% of the net proceeds at the end of the day, it's aiming to get nearly 40%. So, I mean, yes, I mean, this is a highly inequitable situation. But at the end of the day, money talks. And the broadcasters are Indian, the crowds are Indians, the eyeballs are Indians. So India has a case that they need to get a larger pie of the larger pie of the cake. So, so I think at the end of the day, it's basically the change of attitude has to come from India. I say that in the old days, we were talking about the big three. Now we are confronted with the big one. And, the thing is, there's some misunderstanding here. In the last meeting, Asia Cup meeting in Bahrain, the Bangladeshi candidate, Nazmul Sahab, made the following point. He said, there is no question of an Asia Cup without Pakistan. So going by that, and everybody agreed with that. Going by that, the hybrid model was the only model on the table. There was no other model because we said very clearly that unless the hybrid model is fine-tuned to everybody's satisfaction, we are unable to play because that is now policy back home. So the issue really now is, for me, I think two issues are being confused. The first issue, will the ACC accept the hybrid model? The second issue is, if it does, where will we play? Which is going to be the neutral venue? Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, UAE, Bahrain, or any other country? And I think that, for me, that is an open issue. I'm happy to sit across the table and discuss the neutral venue where we'll play the 7 matches. But what I'm not prepared to concede is that all the matches should be played in a neutral venue and Pakistan should be, as the host country, should be excluded. That's off the table. That will be glorious if that happens.